Hey, and welcome back. So today I'm going to be taking you through some more of the Switch.js code. And we just finished last time the auto-deactivate activated widgets function, which I'm thinking about renaming, not sure. And today we're going to be working on a when function. I have like an hour and a half, 2 hours right now. I might just work through the whole time. I got some water right here, so I'm ready to go. And yeah, I'm excited to get started. Okay, so let's go into the code. Um, I I think I want to rename this real quick because this function name was named back with the old version of widget.js, and I mean widgets now aren't deactivated, so I think right now I'll just say like auto. Um, I don't know, automatically turn off switches. And I'll just say other switches. So, I mean, it's not like a totally different name, but I like it a little bit better. And it uses this off keyword, which is something we're using in here as an action, so it kind of makes sense. Okay, so the next thing I want to do is just go through these steps from the last time really quickly, just to make sure we're covering everything in our turn off function. Okay, so the first thing we wanted to do is get the turned on switch name in our auto turn off function. And then we want to see if it's already been activated this time around, this turn. Then we want to get the data associated with the element, including auto and custom name, and then we want to turn it off. So let's make sure that we're doing that. So we get all the turned on switch elements here. We get the turned on switch names here, and we filter through them. So we filter out the auto ones. We filter so that it only includes the turned on switches. And what was the last thing we wanted to do? Oh yeah, make sure they haven't already been activated or processed. And we do that here. So we go through the process switches, we find any one that matches the name and the element, and if we find that match, then we return false. Okay. And then for each switch to turn off, which is what we are using this filter to define, we loop through these and we turn off each one. So pretty simple. And now I think what we want to do before like reading through all this code and making sure it makes sense to us, and maybe adding like a little bit more documentation, is we want to follow up on our to-do from earlier. 1 second, I'm just going to pause for a second. Okay, so I'm sure you didn't even notice I paused. So we are going, I just brought this to-do into our project so that we can see it. We're going to create a when function. So usually when I have a function that is on a library, so we'll just say like library, and then it's going to take an event that we want to watch for. I'll use on, and that's because jQuery uses it. It's short, it makes sense. But in this example, the reason I don't want to use on, and it's kind of a silly example, a silly reason, is that we are using on and off as kind of keywords for this code. So using on here might get a little complicated because say someone's using this library for the first time, they might think that this would like accept an element, right? Like a switch element, and it would turn it on, right? So in order to not have any confusion here, I'm going to be replacing what I would normally call on with Len, and this is probably going to be like something like switches, and then this is going to accept the name of the action, so either on or off or toggle, and then we're going to have the name of the switch. So for example, we'll just use switch name here, and then optional, a switch element. So we'll just do like that there, and then we'll use a 6 function, and this is going to be I don't know, event data, and pass to our callback function, and then we can use this event data in here, and maybe the event data is going to have maybe, I'm not sure about this, maybe whether it's on or not, and maybe it's switch data instead. I don't know. I mean, if it was an event data, it could have the switch on it, right? And it could have the switch data on it. But I'm not sure I need anything else about the event. I guess like I could attach like the mouse position, which might be useful. But I'm fine with this for now. I'm trying not to make this library too complicated. Okay, so we got switch data on. We'll do like switch data element, just in case, you know, we don't pass in this element, and we'll have like all the standard things, so like the name, switch data, let's do like action element maybe, or like maybe it's like trigger action, and then we have things inside of here. So we have like trigger element, or like element. And we could just replace this with action. So we'll have like the element. What else does the trigger have? It has I mean, I guess we could include the actual action, which I forget what we call. So if we look, I think we have to look in our parse code, or I guess no, we could probably just look in that list that I had, but we'll just use this. Okay, so here, the actions, name, type, and context. So type is on, off, or toggle. So I'll have type, context, name, and element, I don't know. I'll just put a question mark before this, I'll put a question mark before this. And for the switch data, that's going to be, other things we want on that is like auto and custom name. And we can't just have switch there, we'll try switch data. Okay. The switch is a reserved word, which we found out about last time around. Okay. So that looks pretty good. Yeah, okay, so let's, I guess let's implement this, right? Okay, so I guess first we could decide, do we want to include this? I think it makes sense. It's kind of a nice thing to know whether it's been turned on or off. And the action element, I also think, is really nice to know. Okay, so let's take this. Oops. Okay. And let's go into the switch code. And how are we going to implement this? So I implemented this before in the original widget. You'll notice there's an original widget version 1 JS, which I'm kind of thinking I'm not going to show you because it's a little bit, it's very like custom for its use, like customized for its use. It wasn't like really built for general purpose, so I'm a little embarrassed of the code, but I might show it to you later. Okay, so let's see, what do we got here? What do we got? Oh, sorry, this is also like an original. This is like an older version. Okay, so we want to go actually into this code down here, and we nope, it's not here. It's in this. It's in the app. It's in this app. Public JavaScript modules widget.js. Okay, so this is like the last working version, which I probably shouldn't have rebuilt from scratch. Okay, so what we do is we export this W, which I know is an awful name. Why would you use a one-word name? And you can get the info of a widget. You can see if it's activated. You can activate it. You can deactivate it. You can toggle it. And these are basically turn on, turn off, and toggle. And I think we're right now we're not exporting toggle, which I think we definitely want to do, right? Okay, so then we have on activate, on deactivate, and on toggle. And the way we implement these, which I'm honestly not sure is the right way to implement them, is we have this array of on activate callbacks, on deactivate callbacks, and on toggle callbacks. And then every time we add one of these callbacks, we add it to this array with the ID of the widget and the callback. And then I think when it's triggered, we'll loop through all of the callbacks in the array and see if the ID matches the thing that was just triggered. And if it does, then we call the callback with this information. Seems a little inefficient to me, but let's see. So how can we do this a little bit better? Oh yeah, and then I have these like wrapper functions. This one triggers the activated callbacks. This one triggers the deactivated callbacks. And this one triggers the toggle callbacks. Okay. So in fairness to me, this is the first time. Well, not the first time, but this is like, I haven't built this kind of event system very often. But anyways, let's just try to do some things here. So we're going to have this when function. And we can paste our code here so we know kind of what we want it to end up looking like. So it's going to take I guess we can call it action type, switch name, switch element, and callback. And what we want to do is whenever this is called, we want to somehow hook into the event system so that we want to somehow hook into the event as it happens. So like whenever toggle happens, we want to have something down here that triggers all of the functions. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what to do here. I'm going to think for a little bit. You can fast forward. Fast forward a couple minutes. So what this makes me think of is an object. So what if there was an object called lookup callback, and I could plug in the action type, and that would give me back, oh wait, no, this wouldn't go here. This would go here, yeah. So we would look up callback, we would put toggle in here. Then we would put switch name and switch element. So switch name and switch element. Sorry, I was just going to do the element. And this is, in this example, is going to be like that. And then we just call it, right? Now, obviously, this isn't going to work. But it kind of makes sense, right? Because we have a very direct path to the callback that we want to use, and I think it's a pretty fast lookup, right? Because we're not, in this case, we're not looping through an array. Not that that matters to me that much. It really doesn't matter to me that much. I don't envision I'm going to be using these event listeners all over the place. But with something like this, I think it makes sense to try to make it as efficient as possible. Yeah, so I like this. So what I could do is this object could just have, these actions pre-planted in it, right? So I could always ensure that during, on, off, or toggle in here always returns an object. And then something I could do, which I don't want to do, is look for all the switches on the page when the page first loads, get all of the switch names, and then build out objects for them. So what I'm talking about is an object that looks like this. Oh, this is awful. This is just awful, right? But just bear with me. Because, brainstorming is good to do, right? So this would be like an example, switch name, and then for the switch, so for the element, I wouldn't have to have that, right? So I could say like, let callback equal this, and then like, I don't know, if callback, then, call the callback, right? Yeah, I like using the curly braces. Okay, so yeah, so I wouldn't have to have anything in here, right? But then if there was something in here and it did find it successfully, then it would call it. So this is like, I think, an awful idea. Mostly because like in my on lookup, I would also have to have this same example switch name, right? So I'd have to have every single switch on the page repeated 3 times for, toggle on and off. And also this wouldn't work because this element, if you look at the Len function, this element is optional, right? So what happens if I just pass in toggle and the name? Well, I guess what I could do, if I went with this route, which I'm not going to, but what I could do is get this far, right? And then and then loop through all of the keys in here and call all of the callbacks. Yeah. Okay. So what else makes sense here? So since I'm mostly building this library for myself, ideally, I'd love it for other people to use it, but my first priority is just building something that works for myself. Let me just think through real quick. How many events could I imagine attaching to these widgets or switches, right? So right now, the way I'm planning it, I think it's going to be just a couple times, I think, on the page. But I could see it getting to the point where maybe, I have like, I don't know, 20 or 30 different listeners on a single page if it's a pretty complicated page. So if you think about that, looping through that many elements isn't that bad. So I don't know, I might go back to the way I implemented it before and maybe clean up the code a little bit. Obviously this was a bad idea. I don't know. I mean, maybe not obviously. I'm sure someone could write that code in a way that makes a lot more sense than the way I wrote it. But let's see. So I guess what is my ideal here for like the way this interface is? I think it's like trigger callbacks, and it's for toggle, and for the switch name, and for the switch element. So yeah, I think we could go backwards from here, and we could we'll put this like under the Len function. We probably should split this code up. So trigger callbacks, and we have this. So the action type is, let's just say like, e.g. it's going to be on, and it's going to be switch name, and it's going to be, I don't know, some element, right? Yeah. So what was I just saying? Yeah, so action type is going to be on. So this is definitely required, the action type. I guess I could have like a when that just listens to switch name, and then it like returns the type back to me. So it'll like tell me, what happened on that switch. That might actually be kind of cool. And I could see like a case maybe when, maybe I would want it. Maybe I would just want a listener on anything that happens on this widget. If it's toggled, if it's turned on, if it's turned off. I want to know about everything. So Yeah, I guess the primary thing that I really want to know is the switch name. So I'm going to put that first. Not to say that the action type is optional yet. Okay, but I think I might want to make it optional. Okay, so yeah, so I think like a callback object could look something like this. So it could have the switch name, it could have the action type, and it could have the switch element, and it could have the callback. So it looks actually exactly like this. Okay. And then what we do is we check, when we're triggering the callbacks, we say, if we have this, and this, and this, yeah, then we'll loop through the callbacks. So callbacks array. I mean, yeah, people are probably yelling at me right now because I think this is probably not the best way to do this. But I mean, whatever, we're gonna do it, okay? And let's just do this. So we're gonna, I guess, filter this. And we have the callback. Let's say callback object, and we're gonna say callback object, and then all of these things are gonna match. Yeah. Okay. Put this on the new line. Okay, so we got this matches this this matches this, and this matches this. Oops. Geez. Putting semicolons after every line. Okay, so this is one approach. And then, I don't know, we have like another function that says like, filtered callbacks, and then we do like callbacks. I would do something like that. It's not my favorite. I'm kind of going back to the object idea, as stupid as it sounds. So like, what if we have let all callbacks, and then yeah, so in when we would do like switch name, action type, switch element, equal callback. And then action type would be like this, or any. So that wouldn't work if we had multiple lens. Oh, yeah. So the final, yeah, so I think I'm going to commit to this. You know, you signed up for this. If you want to keep watching, keep watching. This might get pretty awful. But I think it's going to be kind of cool. Okay, so we have like switch name, for example. And then we've got on, and then we've got like the, so this is going to be like a DOM node, okay? And then we've got the callback. And I guess ideally, so if switch name is only one that's required, then what happens if I have any? Then we could just do like any dash one or any, I don't know, any one, and then this would be like this. Then we have a DOM node, and we have the callback. Okay. So the idea would be that if you call it on, if you call when on just a switch name, it's going to loop through all of the keys it finds, and then it's going to loop through all of those keys. So yeah, let's, what happens if you don't specify a DOM node? Again, we have like any, and then a number that auto increments. So we'd loop through all of these, we'd loop through all of these, and then we'd call all of their callback. If you specify a switch name, so I guess the question is, can you specify a switch name and a switch element, but not an action type? And if that can happen, what would you do? Well, okay, so if that can happen, what you would do is you'd go through so you'd find the switch name, and that's the switch name. You would loop through you would loop through all these action types. And then you would see if this key matches your switch element. And if it's a string, you would call the callback. But if it's an element and it doesn't match, you wouldn't call the callback. Yeah, I mean, I kind of like it. It's like, yeah, it definitely seems weird, but it's the data structure that makes the most sense for this, and it's so simple. It's so nice. And then we just like have an incrementer, right? So it would just be like, I'm sure there's a way to do this with like getters and setters on the object itself, but we could just have like, I don't know, current action index. This isn't what I would mean, but we would start at 1, and then we'd have like current element index, and then so like say you add another one here, because it's arbitrary what they're called, right? It doesn't matter what they're called. And that, yeah, that could be like 3, because like this could be a legitimate, you know, action type, right? Uh, wait, no. No, this could be 1, right? Because this could be a legitimate element, right? Okay. So, yeah, I mean, I think it makes sense, right? It requires a little bit of complicated code on our end, but it's a nice way to store them. And yeah, it just requires looping through a lot of object keys. Okay, so what happens when we call when? Well, we got this. Let's delete that. We've got all callbacks. We've got the action index. This definitely has to go in a separate file, because current action index sucks for a name. It's a really bad reason for moving something to a separate file. But no, I mean, we'll change the name too. Okay, so we have switch name, we have action type, we have switch element, and we have callback. Okay, so I'm going with this, okay? So if we don't have an action type, no, that doesn't make sense. Okay, so now, yeah, okay. This is going to be passed in as an object, because the other way sucks. If I have to count arguments and like figure out which one's going to be called when, no, you can just pass in an object, and these are optional. Okay, so if no action type, and if no switch element, and up here, and I should be planning this code out ahead of time. So yeah, why don't we do that right now? Okay, so switch name is required. So this is more like general kind of code. Action type is optional. Switch element is optional, and callback is required. And what we want to do is, can you give us a bunch of comments here? Nice. Okay. So the first thing we want to do is if action type isn't defined, generate a fake action type, a fake value. Okay, if switch element isn't defined, generate a fake value. this is super simple, I think. Yeah, the triggering is going to be the hard part, I think. And then just, I don't know, add these to a global object as keys, one right after the other. That's all. I think that's all. Oh wait, and I don't know, set the value to the callback. I thought it was going to be more complicated than that. Okay, so so I want a function that will iterate for me. And I know there's a simple way of doing this, and I wrote a really complicated one before, and I don't want to repeat that. How do I do it? So I think we want like get unique number, get, that's about name, by the way, auto-incrementing number, and because I'm trying to do this without having a variable outside of it, and I'm pretty sure it's it's definitely possible. I mean, of course, of course it's possible. So let's just say like num equals 0, and I think what we want to do, I'm not sure about this. Do we want to do a self-invoking function that I'm not sure about this, right? So you forgive me, right? It doesn't. That's not it. I think what we want, increase by 1. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about this either. But let's do return none plus 1. And then let's return increase. Okay, so yeah, I need to like learn more JavaScript, right? If I'm writing code like this and I have no idea if it works. Okay, so get auto-incrementing number. We start with the number. I have this function in here. This has access to the outer scope because that's a closure. And so it's going to keep track of it. And then we return this. But yeah, this isn't going to work, right? Because every time I call this, this should get redefined. So it should end up 0 again. So I don't think that's going to work. Yeah, okay, of course. So it's times like these where I feel like it's such an idiot. Such a really, really stupid person. Okay, but let's look it up. JavaScript auto increment number. I love free code camp. I'm like a little jealous of the people that are members of it because I wish it was around when I was around. When I was learning. When I was around. Yeah. I wish it was around when I was around. Function This looks good. Okay, yep. So this is the global. Okay. JavaScript self-contained. There we go. So we pass in 0, and that's n. Was that close? Return function n plus equals n. How did I not get it? How did I not get it? Oh, yeah. So this is smart, right? Because it is, I was like, I was halfway there both times, right? So this is an immediately invoked function that sets this. So the only point of the immediately invoked function is to get the initial state. Then once it has the initial state, it doesn't care about anything else, right? So you have the initial state, and then you just keep adding 1 to it. So my problem was that I was redefining the state every time, but I needed something to pass in the initial state that wasn't able to get redefined. I don't know. So yeah, I'm gonna rewrite this. Just trying to work from memory. So I think they did this, and then they did this, and then they did this. This one. And then there's none. And then we return a function that returns n plus 1. No, n plus plus. And that might work. Not, oh geez. Not sure. Come on, dude. Okay. Refresh. Okay. Get auto-incrementing number. Awesome. And we're going to start with 1. Oh, okay, because I put the plus plus after. If I put it before, that'll work. Oh, jeez. Okay, that number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Awesome. Okay, that's really cool. What is this name? What am I doing? What is that? How is that working? What? Is name defined on this page? How? Wait. Oh, because I just cleared it. I didn't refresh. I just cleared it. So name was. Why is it? I'm not gonna worry about that. Okay. So get auto-incrementing number. Bum 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 bum. Okay, I love that. And I think I could use a better name. What did this guy name it? Increment. I think that's not a good name either. Get auto-incrementing number. This is fine. I'm okay with it. Okay, so let's do this. Whew. Okay, so now we have the auto-incrementing number, which we can use for, oh no, I don't have my example. Okay, I do. We can use it for this and these values. Who cares if this one says 1 and then this one says, any 2? It doesn't matter to us. Okay, so let's get auto-incrementing number. Let's do, okay, so if there's no action type, generate a fake value. So we're going to say action. Ooh, so it'd be cool to like just do it up here, right? As like a default value. But I think it's better to do it down here. Okay, so let's do this, and we're going to just call it any, and then I'm going to use a dash because I like doing that for names, and then we're going to do this. Oops. Yes. Okay, cool. So if there's no action type, it's going to be named any dash and then an auto-incrementing number. If there's no switch element, we're going to do the same thing. And then we're going to do, and the reason I don't check for switch name is because you got to pass it in. If you don't, you deserve whatever terrible things happen to you. That's kind of, I don't know, like before when I like first started programming, I would always like check for everything. I would be like, oh, is switch name there? If it's not, do an error. I think it's still a good practice to check for everything, but I don't got time for that. So we're gonna do all callbacks. We're gonna do switch name, which is definitely gonna be there. Action type is now definitely gonna be there. Switch element is now definitely gonna be there. It might be a string. And then we're going to assign that to callback. So we got the first one, we got the second one, and we got the third and fourth one. Okay, cool. So if you hung on there, I don't know, maybe you're feeling rewarded, maybe you're feeling like this is the worst code you've ever seen, maybe you're somewhere in between. Okay, what do we do now? Well, now we're going to do trigger callbacks. So this is fun. So trigger callbacks for switch name, action type, switch element. So our ideal case is that all we do, we just do this. I guess we'll leave that. I don't know. We'll put this here. This should really like, I don't know. Yeah, this all needs to be in its own file. I say again. Okay. So the ideal case is that we just do this. I don't know why I didn't just copy it from here. So we just do this, right? But we can't do that because we might be missing an action type or a switch element. So again, I think I'm going to just make this like an object, right? So I don't have to worry about the order and the arguments list and all that stuff. It's a little bit more verbose when I'm passing things in, but it's not that bad. Okay, so we got this stuff. We're gonna say so basically if all we have is this, okay, wait, for this one, for trigger callbacks, this is internal, right? So this isn't something that's going to be called publicly. So we know that there's going to be a switch name, and we know that there's going to be an action type, because it's either going to be toggle or on or off. So we actually don't need this to be an object because we know this is going to be here, that's going to be here, and this is going to be here. Wait, what am I doing? What am I doing with my trigger callbacks? Oh, got it. Okay. Okay. So yeah. So we're definitely gonna have all three of these things every time. The problem is we don't know. Um, there might not be a callback to match these, right? And yeah, so we might not even get this back, right? This right here might be undefined. Okay. So I guess that's the first. So okay, let's plan out the code again. So if if there's if there's a value for switch name, um, continue. If there's a value for action type okay. If there's a value for switch name and action type and switch element, call that callback. So this isn't exactly what we're going to do, but I just need to get everything out of my head. Okay, if there's a value for switch name, but not for action type or switch element, wait. I gotta have an example. Okay, so we got these guys. So let's say I just triggered something, and this is the complicated one, so I'm gonna look at this. So we trigger this one, and yeah, and there wouldn't ever be two of the same name. Okay, so we trigger this one. What do we want to happen? We want all of these any's to be called. All of them should be called. So no matter what, all the any's are called, right? Yeah. Okay. But we might have okay. We might have like an off here. And okay. And that might have an any, like an any, I don't know, 5, who cares, right? With a callback. Well, let's put this in comments. It's annoying doing this, but it's fine. Okay, there we go. Okay, so that might have that. So in that case, we want to follow this path. Okay. Oh, jeez. Yeah, I think there's a simple way of doing this. Okay, so let's, okay, I just want to go through this example now. Okay, so say I trigger switch name, and it's an auth, and you know, it's a specific DOM node. I'm going to get to here. I'm going to see that the specific DOM node doesn't match. So then I'm going to loop through all the keys to see if there are any. And then I'm going to call all the callbacks on those. Okay, now I call switch name 2, and I see if on matches, it doesn't. I see if off matches, it doesn't. I see if toggle matches, or sorry, it's going to have an action. Well, in this example, it's going to have an option. So action. So let's say it's on. So I see if on matches. It doesn't match them. So now I loop through all the any's. I get these two. Let's say I have an element, a specific element. I see if these match. They don't. I see if there are any's, and I call the callback on them. Okay, so I think I need a function here that says like is key any. And then we have the key name, and we just return key name index of any is equal to 0. Okay, and that works. Okay, and we could put the dash in here. I don't really care. Okay, so let's see. So what's the how can we do this very simply? We could copy the whole object, loop through all of the any's, and remove them as we loop through them, and then test for matches. But I don't think that's necessary. I don't know if that would save us any time. Let's do this. Okay. So let's just go through this example again. So first, we check to see if the switch name matches. If it does, continue. Okay. If there's a value for a switch name, continue. Now, check for switch name. If present, continue. Okay. The next thing we do, so let's use this example. The next thing we do is check for specific action. If present, continue. Either way, and we'll say like continue down main path, because this is all about paths. Either way, also open up any path along this route. Okay, then check for, so we'll deal with this one later, right? Let's just go down the main path. Okay, so we've matched on the switch name, we've matched on the action. Check for specific element, if present, call its callback. Okay. And let's say now handle oh, okay. Yep. So we want another either way here. Either way, also call the callback on any keys. Okay. Now handle. Okay. So okay. So then we're gonna do this. We're gonna check for a specific element in here. So I don't know how to do this exactly. I don't know. We'll use a dash, I guess. Check for a specific element. Same thing. If present, call its callback. Either way, also call the callback on any keys. So I think that's going to get us all the way back. I'm not sure if it's the most efficient, but let's run through it one more time. So we're going to check for the switch name. If it's present, continue down the main path. The main path being switch name, action type, switch element. Boom, we're in. We got the specific callback that we wanted. Let's call that. Okay. So along those lines, check for the specific action. If present, continue down the main path. Now, if we're still on the main path, if we just continue there, then we're going to check for the specific element. If present, call its callback. Okay. So there, and then for the, we'll go back to the either way. So if there's no, if the specific action doesn't match, open up any paths along this route. Check for the specific element. If present, call its callback. Either way, inside of this little area, also call the callback on any keys. Okay, now getting back to the main path, we just finished up here. We called the callbacks for the main path. Either way, also call the callback on any keys. So it's like a loop within a loop within a loop. I don't know. I'm kind of it's probably like what do you call it? Like O(n) to the power of a billion. You know, like when you have nested for loops, the like computer science term for that, like for how long it's going to take, or how long it could possibly take. I don't know. It's like having 3 nested for loops is super inefficient. Okay, so let's do this. Okay, one second. I'm going to pause. I'm going to look for a library, a JavaScript library that I saw the other day that might help with this. And yeah, I'll be right back. Okay, so I found the library. It's from Facebook, and it's called IDX. And it's a library for accessing arbitrarily nested, possibly nullable properties on a JavaScript object, which basically lets you turn something like this, you know, where you're not sure if there's a user, you're not sure if they have friends, you're not sure if that friends array has an object, and you're not sure if that friend has friends. Instead, you can just do this, IDX props, and then you can use this, you know, ES6 type function to call user .friends, right? And what they said, or what they say here, is that this actually doesn't do anything super special, but Babel behind the scenes will redefine this like this. So it's pretty much doing exactly the same thing, but you get to save some time. So I'm not sure that's going to be useful in our example. There's also this. Oh, that's cool. I like that. So if you need like user.personalinfo.name, you say like, or on this, that's going to give you a blank object, and then or on this, that's going to give you a blank object. Oh, I've never seen that before. What does this do? Is it tie or tippy? Well, how does he recommend to user save object? Oh, that's cool. I like that. So it calls this function on an object as well as the properties he wants to access, and then he checks to see if it's a safe object. Let's see. Okay. So, yeah. Okay. So that looks cool. I don't think I want to use this, but I could use this. I mean, it's the same thing, I think. Okay, but let's see. Is it useful? So it would look like, so we know that this is going to be defined, or no? Yeah, we're not even sure that this is going to be defined. Okay, so we wrap this like this, and then we say like, or that. I think you could use this as well as the dot notation, but wait, why name user or person? Okay, so he's not even sure in this case that the user is an object. We are positive that all callbacks is an object, so we can do this because at the worst, this is going to return undefined, which will mean that we'll end up with this object instead. Okay, so then we'll do this. Yeah. This. And then, yeah, we just do the same thing, right? So we just do this, and this, and that, and it goes around the end. And then, so this last one, it's going to be for, sorry, it just takes a little second for me to think of it. Okay, so this is the main path. This is horrible code, but this is the main path. And then, so if it exists, so I guess we don't need this last one, right? Because, okay, we're gonna, so here, this statement, so let's go through all the cases. This might be undefined, in which case we get an empty object. We're gonna look up this key on the empty object. If it is an empty object, right? So if it's empty, this will be undefined. So then we'll get another empty object, which we'll try to look this up on. If that is undefined, so then we want to do like path. That's not actually what I'd name it, but we'll say like if main path, then main path. Yeah, okay, so that's not terrible. Okay, so let's name this like name type and path. Again, not what I want the final name to be, but this is fine for now. And then we're going to say, no, I don't like this. I think the more verbose path is okay. So I don't know. Okay, so like, I guess then we would have like a name and type path. And then we would just have like a name path. But, I mean, this doesn't make sense, right? Because it's only this name and type name, type, and element path that's going to give us the final callback, right? These are all going to just give us objects. Yeah, and it's too confusing. Yeah, okay. So let's just do this one at a time. Okay, so first of all, and I think I like this order, even though these are a little bit confusing. Okay, so check for switch name. If present, continue down the main path. So we have all callbacks switch name. So we have if all callbacks switch name, we're good. Okay, check for specific action. If present, continue down the main path. Okay, so now we're in here. So we know this is defined. So we're going to say if this and this will continue. Okay, either way, so that's going to be here. Because so if it was like else, we would put an else here, but it's an either way. So either way, also open up any path along this route. Okay, so we know that this is defined at this point. So we do object keys on here, and then we do for each. And we'll do like key name. Okay. Either way, also open up any paths along this route. And that's going to require if is key any. Is an any key. Key. Yeah, okay. Just reorganized a little bit. Okay. So if it's in any key, we're going to do something in that. So if it's in any key, check for a specific element. Okay, so these are actions right in here. So these keys are action. So let's call them action key names. And so if we have any action, what we're going to do is this one, right? So we're going to check for a specific element. If present, call its callback. So this is very silly. So we're going to have this, and then this. Wait, what? Check for a specific element. Oh, okay, got it. Okay. So now we're going to do the switch element. Okay, so if we have all of this, we're going to just call it. Okay, cool. I'm literally going to go crazy writing this code. Okay, so hopefully, okay, that works. So I'm just kidding, I'm fine. Okay, so we go in here, and then we say, either way, also call the callback on any keys. Okay, so now we have, we know that this exists. So we're going to do object keys on this, and then we're going to do for each. And now we have this is the element key name. And I can just call this action key instead, because I want to call this element key, because it's not going to be a key, it's actually going to be an element. Either way, also call the callback on any keys. So now we're going to say this same thing. So all callbacks, switch name, action key, and then this, and we're just actually going to call it, right? Because we've reached the end. Awesome. Cool. Okay, check for specific action. If present, continue down the main path. Okay, so this is the main path. And we're going to check for a specific element. If present, call its callback. So this is just going to be the next simple version of this, which is just that and that. Okay? And then we have this one. And I'm not sure if it's possible to do this more efficiently. If you are a computer science graduate, or you just know, how to do this more efficiently, just let me know, please. That would be great. Okay, so either way, also call the callback on any keys. Okay, so now we're going to do, what do we got? I think we got another one of these. So we're going to do, we know that So we know that this exists. And we're going to do lm key. Okay. Oh, okay. And now we just need to check. Oh, I think I made a mistake down here. So here, with the lm key, yeah, okay. So this is good to keep track of. So yeah, we can't just call this. We have to do the check because we need to make sure it's in any key. Because if it's not in any key, we could call this callback twice, right? Because we're calling it right here, and then this is doing it again, right? So we need the check. Okay, so let's copy this and remove that. Is any key. Okay, cool. Either way, also call a callback on any. Okay, so now we're gonna do is any key, and we're gonna do that, and we're gonna do lm key. And if that passes, if it's in any key, we're going to call it no matter what. Yeah, so this is like an example of code that you leave someone with, and they're a new hire. They got hired like 5 years from now, and they post something on Reddit that says, "Look what this, monster left me with." And everyone's like, "Oh, ha ha ha! This is really awful code." Basically, it's like super nested. I think it's pretty inefficient, and um, I don't know. I love it, right? But I'm not I'm not working with it a year from now, right? I mean, hopefully I will be, but like at this point, I'm not actually working with it, and it's been a year. So I think if that was the case, I might be a little bit puzzled. Why, why did I do this? But it's kind of cool, right? So the thing that this allows me to do is have this be required, have this be optional, have this be optional, and have this be required. And yeah, I mean, it's pretty simple, right? Example of how data might end up looking. I don't know. I don't know where to put this. I like it because it's gonna help me understand this later. Oh, and we should have the dashes in here. And let's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. Yeah, so I mean, yeah, it's pretty cool. It makes sense, I don't know, to me. And it's pretty flexible. So yeah, it should allow us allow us to just pretty much throw anything in there, and then we just do the trigger callbacks, in here, right? So we have name, toggle, and the element. Yeah. So that's in toggle, and then we want to also do it. Oh, here's a good question. So if it's not, so in turnoff, we check if it's on first. Do we want this trigger to be inside of this? So it only triggers if it was actually on or not? I think it does it either way. That's just my opinion. So this is going to be off, and this is going to be switch object name and element. Right, and that's the order. I'm sorry, I have to keep checking. I'm just like really tired at this point. Like, this is a lot of coding. Okay. Oh. That shouldn't be there. Okay. Okay, so we got trigger callbacks, and we got okay, cool. So we got the name. Okay, so that works. I'm not sure we made an improvement to the old code where we were storing an array and then looping through each item of the array. I like it a little bit better. If you're like a professional coder, or like you just have an opinion about this, I would love to hear your opinion and just talk about it, because this is like pretty interesting stuff to me, and I would love to know, if there is like some kind of pattern that I could use instead of what I ended up using. That would make it simpler to think about and think through it. Because the main reason I ended up using this is just because an object just seemed like the most functional data structure for this information. And I really like this like any key thing. It's just, I don't know, it's just kind of cool, right? I kind of like built in a new data type, into JavaScript. It's kind of cool. Okay, so oh, we didn't get the switch data back. So that's one thing we want to do. Let's go to like Git client and just let's say like wrote callbacks function. This is going to be a really long video. I should probably stop now. But maybe, what did I want to return? I'm not going to return on right now. Let's just put to do. And there, name auto. This can be to do. This can be to do. And this can be to do. The element and the name and the action type. Okay. So, I mean, if I'm going to include the action eventually, it might not make sense to do this here, but yeah, I'm going to do it for now. Okay, so action type, element, and name. Whew. So we got this. Let's do in here like let switch data equal name is equal to switch name action type is equal no, forgot that, and is equal to switch element, and then whenever we have these, I'm just going to press it. Okay, and make sure. Okay, I think that made sure that I covered all of them. Okay, wait. I think I messed something up. So when I was searching for these, so I have Right, 4 cases here. But I don't think I'm covering a case, which is the case where I don't have an action type. Well, I mean the case when I just have a switch name. So if I have, yeah, where I just have a switch name. So this is complicated, right? Well, okay, because I could just, or wait, no, I don't need to, right? I don't need to because, yeah. So this is the main reason why code like this sucks, is because it's really hard to think through. Okay, so I'm going to end up with something like this. So let's say I just passed in the switch name to when, right? I'm going to get an any and an any for this and this. So the path I'm going to go down is going to be, okay, we got the switch name. Nope, we don't have this. Let's check this action type. Is what am I doing? What's this? Okay. Okay. If I'm sorry, I'm like really tired. I'm done with this, but I just want to make sure that the code might work before I call it a day. Okay, so for every, we know that this exists. So we have this, but we don't have this, right? No, we don't have this either. Okay, so it's an any key. It's an any key. Okay, so we're going down this road. So we're gonna call we're gonna see if the action key is an any key. Then we're not gonna have this because we don't have the switch element there. We're gonna see if the element key is an any key. My doorbell just rang. I gotta go. I'll be right back. Okay, so I'm gonna finish up here, but I just wanted to check this one last thing. So we're gonna, for the case where we have the switch name but not the action key or the element key, we'll get into this path because it's an any key. And then we'll get into this path because the element key is an any key, right? So we have the action key is an any key, the element key is an any key, and then we're going to call it. So this is going to be like any dash, something, and this is going to be any dash something. Okay, and I just want to check up here real quick because this code didn't make sense to me for a second. So this makes sense. This makes sense. That makes sense. In this case, we have the action type. We know for sure this is defined. We're going to loop through every LM key in that case and see if it's in any key, and if it is, we're going to call it. Okay, that makes sense too. Okay, so yeah, it's a little convoluted, a little complex, but kind of cool. I kind of like that I created it, so that feels good. And now we can expose this when function, and next time we're going to get to like the meat of it, right? So we're going to check widget.js, the original. We're just going to go through this real quick, understand, how it's doing, what it's doing, and see if there's anything we might want to add back to here. And then hopefully that doesn't take very long. Hopefully, we've covered most of the functionality. We're going to review all the code by reading through it, which is kind of a fun exercise. It's just kind of like a quick review. I'm sure we'll change a few names or whatever. And then we're going to set up some like tests. So that just means like an example page that just kind of like lets us click on things and see if they're switched on or switched off. All of that might take longer than one video, but hopefully, we get through it soon. Okay, well, have a good night, and thank you for watching. Bye.